So, you are about to graduate. You're going to help turn this city in the right direction. Let me get one thing out, though, from some earlier comments. One of the teachers, one of the faculty did make a comment, and our team is playing tomorrow, and she's a faculty person, I think, from Pittsburgh. And I want to welcome her here, and notwithstanding her big support for the Steelers, it didn't get past me that you do have Eagles green on. So I want to say thank you for recognizing a good team. This city is on the verge of change. We've had an incredible election take place in the primary. Some of you may know the story a little bit, but a little over a year ago, I resigned from City Council to run for mayor. I've been in office for 14 and a half years in a fairly safe district. I have not had a primary challenge since 1995, so got through the 99 and the 2003 elections with no primary, and I think my constituents were fairly happy, and probably could run for re-election in 2007 with a fairly decent chance of success. But I decided, and Jordan talked earlier about you joining this program, and you took a risk. You took a chance on a fledgling early program that only had one class ahead of you, and I decided that it was time for me to take more risk. Running for office is always a risk, or any big endeavor that you really care about and have a passion about. But running for mayor of I'll still say, the 5th largest city in America is not like running for committee person. I've done that and lost twice at that too. But it's a little different. The framers of our home rule charter had a wonderful sense of humor. That if you're in office, if you want to run for another office, you have to resign to run. Ted Fernandez did that in 1999. So it's not something you do very easily and very simply. But I decided to run because of my passion to continue to serve, but just at a different level. That I love the legislative process. I love City Council. Had a few successes here and there, and whether it was smoking ban and tax reform commission and changing a bunch of the laws in the city of how we function and operate, and board of ethics and all of that. But there's this continued passion and drive about doing more and giving more and taking more risk and taking more chances. And so even though I'd already known, because can't act completely crazy in this business. I knew in May of last year before I left that I was 5th in a 5-way race. I already knew that. I decided in June to announce that I was going to resign from City Council, and announced in July that I was running for mayor, although it was not a big surprise to most people. So you jump in a race, 5th in a 5-way race, leave your job, and people think that this guy has not a snowball's chance. There's no way in the world this is going to work. Nice guy, fairly decent record. The guy just killed his political career. It's about work. It's about networking, it's about relationship building, it's about having a sense of confidence, not only in yourself, but in other people. That somehow, some way, the things that I've been doing over a long period of time, whether in City Council or even before, the kind of mentorship and leadership that I've had, whether it's working with Happy over many years, and in the old days there was an organization called Americans for Democratic Action, and meeting people like Bayard Story and having the leadership of a guy like John Anderson, who was my political mentor 25 years ago, and meeting so many people along the way and maintaining those relationships, and knowing the sense of timing, that Philadelphians were already starting to decide, because the people figure things out way before the politicians do and way before the pollsters do. You have to have a sense of what's going on the ground. And there was a sense out there, whether you looked at the national elections and certainly even in our state, when the House Democrats won, whether it's by one vote or whatever, majority is a majority. The House and the Senate in the Congress flipped from Republican to Democrat. That there was a growing sense, not only in the country, in the state, but also in the city, that people were tired of what was going on, that a message of change and reform could actually break through, and that if there were a person out there who had the time and the commitment and the effort and maybe even a little bit of money to deliver that message, you could possibly break through. And so I just jumped out there. First in the race, knew I was last. People said, why'd you get in so early? I said, well, I got a lot of ground to make up. I only represented 1/10 of the city for a long time. So I may be well known in the 4th Councilmanic District, but there's 9/10 of the city that maybe had a vague concept of who this guy was and what he was about. And so that's what we spent all of our time doing, getting a message out and banging on the phones and talking to people all over the city. And then the race, kind of moved its way along and people jumped in, and at one point somebody jumped out and someone else jumped in. But, there are some indicators. And so at the end of last year, notwithstanding the first knock, which was that guy will never leave office because he can't win. And second, he'll never get in that race because he'll never be able to raise any money. You look at the tail of the tape. In 2006, the Nutter for Mayor campaign raised more money than any other candidate in the race, not with the exception of course, the human ATM. But of the non-millionaire candidates, we raised more money. We raised more money than any other candidate in the race, with, for the first time in the city's history, campaign contribution limits. Then people started to take us a little more seriously. But I was still in 5th place, so, nice guy, yeah, he can raise some money, but he's not going anywhere. Many of you in this room were big supporters, and so when you work with enthusiastic people who really care about an issue, I'll take enthusiastic volunteers over the paid volunteer mercenaries out there any day of the week, because that commitment, that enthusiasm is what drives people to work long hours and long days because they feel so passionate about creating change. And so it doesn't matter what the pollsters say and what the pundits say, what all the experts say, because quite honestly, you end up finding out that it's about 15 people and they're all talking to themselves, convincing themselves of all the old ideas and the old techniques and the old strategies of getting things done. The notion of knocking on doors and calling people at their home, or the candidate being on the phone making calls. When I would call people and they would say, okay, stop playing. It's not Mike Nutter on the phone. No, it really is Mike Nutter. Now, Jim, I told you, stop these jokes. Don't call my house like this. No, it's really me. Well, it kind of sounds like you. I said, no, it's me. Can you give me $250? No, it must be you. So, the vision here is, where are you trying to get to? Well, we're trying to win, and we're trying to turn this city around and get people to think that they actually matter. That going to the polls on election day really is important. That your vote can actually make a difference. That no matter what the numbers are early on, and as I said to a group of young fathers a long time ago, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And so people are going to have all kinds of obstacles and challenges out there and tell you all the things that you cannot do. Ignore them. Just ignore them. Because if you're passionate and you're committed and you're determined to get something done, I think Jordan said it about me, you have to be prepared to go over, under, around, or through. Figure out what is your path and what is your passion. And whether it's running for office or running campaigns or being in the government or, helping senior citizens across the street, figure out your thing, not somebody else's thing. I learned a long time ago, I used to go to boxing matches with my father. He would point out to me, never fight the other fighter's fight. Fight your fight. If you find that thing that you want to do and you're passionate and you're committed about it, then you pursue it with reckless abandon. Anyone who gets in your way, they're going to figure out pretty quickly, maybe I should get out of that person's way and not slow them down, because they've got a place that they need to get to, and I'm either going to help them or I'm going to step aside.